Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Talking Stick Show. So I'm joined by my co-hosts. We have the Laura Massey. Hello, Laura.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
And we are joined with SpongeBob, Bob Anderson, Frequency Bob. Hello, Bob.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. Looking forward to
Good
it.
to see you, brother. Good to see you, man.
You too.
And we have the Nalinee Diosara back onto the show. So Nalinee, I believe, came onto one of the first Talking Stick shows. Then she came on again with me, Laura, and Matty, I believe, a year and a half later. So I'd like to welcome onto the show. We have Nalinee Diosara. Hello.
Hi, great to be back.
It's good to have you here, Nalinee. There's so much wisdom and inspiration that you give people when you've been on, and I know from your Facebook page because I look, and you're always so inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I do like to share, and I feel that when I go through stuff and I'm able to share my process is a release for me as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what have you been up to then, Nalinee? How have things been? I know we've gone through this Lionsgate, just come out of it. I know for the world we've going through a lot of, I'd say, there's a lot of difficult things for people going on. There's a lot of positive, negatives, and people are trying to figure out where they're going forward with themselves. And I know financially there's a lot of hardship at the moment, and we've just come out, obviously, the Donald Trump situation and all of the chaos within itself. So what has it been like for you in the storm over the last year?
I've just been focusing on my personal healing, and like I've spoke to you briefly how I just had hysterectomy, and that's really shifted a lot of not only physical but on an energetic level as well. That puts me into the spot where I need to be extra selective where I get my energy into. And on hindsight, it puts me on to the path where I feel that it's more true to who I am and feel a lot more in balance to the expression of me and my husband and what we do here in Bangkok and online. Speaking of this year, I was just talking to my client today how the so-called dragon year really is revealing a lot of stuff inside and out, a lot of true nature within people and within ourselves. Speaking of Lionsgate, 888 was a shit show for me. I made a mistake, but it also revealed a lot of stuff about me, about the other person, and it was a lot to release. But overall, again, it's just about that being clear of things that we are still working, things that we are still processing, such as the individual pain and also the collective pain, individual confusion and collective confusion. And it really feels like if there's any resistance or stubbornness in a negative way, the dragon is really slapping us in our faces this year. It's like, really, you're not going to change? You're not going to change? This is where you're heading. You're not going to change?
Yes.
Yeah. It's in all level, in health, in finance, in how we express ourselves, our words, our thoughts, our dreams. It's in all realms.
So let's talk a little bit about Lionsgate then, and obviously we can connect to your the painting and the artwork you sent me to show, because I believe that connects to it. Funny how we're talking about it. So we're going into post Lionsgate, and I'll talk about my experience. We can go around and share everyone's experience coming out of it, going into it, and so on. For me, it was showing me certain parts of myself which were afraid to move forward, certain aspects of myself which were not valuing myself enough to be, I'd say, my infinite self and believe in who I am, what I am, and how the great work I do, the great work people do around me. And there was parts of me which realized that I was in hesitation mode, I was in doubt mode, and I believe I've received this from growing up with family members who I got that off, even though I got my own shit from my own traumas as well. But it made me realize that I had to do a lot of work on healing the lonely parts of myself. I've just gone through a divorce, a long relationship, coming out of the other side, realizing that the relationship, even though the hardness it was at times towards the end, was there to show me a bigger picture of me moving forward to me of who I truly am. I've moved to a different area of the land, like the country, on down to Laura's, and I'm able to it feels like the wings, your dragon wings, whatever you want, a metaphor you want to use, are opening up so I can fly again, fly like the butterfly, and I feel like I've been in that cocoon stage about to fly, knowing that I can fly, but now it's a time where I use, and this show is called Paint the Silence because it's so important for people to be able to use their own words of being in the I am now and start speaking and expressing who they truly are again, and everyone to understand how they can go into themselves, how they can hear their own voice, because I wasn't even speaking properly a year ago. Part of my soul was held down, and it felt like I had to go through this huge death. And there was a point where I had a dream of I was chased by a wolf, and the wolf wouldn't leave me alone, and I kept turning around. It kept trying to lightly bite me, and I was like, well, listen. Then all of a sudden a bat came out and started flying around, and that was before it all started, and the bat was there to show the shaman's death is about to be here. And there was a part of me where I saw myself having a womb, even though I'm a male. And I was like, why have I got a womb? I was like, I've got a womb. Okay, I accept I've got a spiritual womb going on here. So I saw myself last September with a womb, about to be pregnant, about to give birth. And I was like, what does this all mean? But I knew that I was giving birth to myself, even though I'm still giving this birth to myself, and I still do my due diligence, knowing that I have the responsibility to be able to fix the layers of the past. And this is for everyone out there. It's all about working on thyself, knowing your story, knowing thyself, allowing yourself to hear your own story out loud, and realize we all have to come into ourselves again, not focus so much on the people around us, because everything is I'd say reflection at times. Sometimes it isn't, but the more you fix within yourself, the more you create peace within your own inner kingdom, the more peace reflects around you. And we all have those moments of people around us who bring us down, hold us down, show us a trickster energy, and we have to let go of them. I'm not talking about family members here, because family members, it's a different layer. They're there to teach you, and you're there to go through the hardships together. But I'm talking about relationships, friends, where the growth isn't there anymore. There's a niggle inside of you where spirit's telling you to take flight, move forward, but you're saying to yourself, I'm worried, I'm scared of being alone. And that's what I was terrified of being alone. Then I got to the point where I had to move out and be on my own again. I went through my own, it was hard going through a divorce, being with someone for 12 years, 13 years altogether, then being on my own again, having to pay my own bills, have my own house and so on. But just to know that when you start speaking to spirit, speaking to the ancestors, speaking to who you are, your team around you, it gets easier because you have help within yourself. So that's my Lionsgate going past. It was hard, I'm not gonna lie, but it was beautiful at the same time. It was about seeing the beauty in the darkness, being the eagle of the night. So Laura, do you want to come in? How was your post Lionsgate going into it for you?
Yes, so for me, Lionsgate is always about getting to the authentic you. And the dragon this year is saying, he's going to burn off another layer till he gets through. And that's what I had. And layers that I don't always and didn't recognize. But obviously, with hindsight, they become more obvious. And when you become aware of them, if you're equal to your level of awareness and level of responsibility, then you're actually going to do something about it so that you can have your own spiritual growth. So for me, I recognize manipulation and control of others and of my life to try and keep my life in place. And it's something that I learned as a child, and we can look back and do this in a child work, and it really is very valid to do this sort of work, because if you go back, I went right back to a childhood. Why did I need to have control? Because I felt out of control. So I felt out of control and in survival because of the situation around me, because of, obviously, the family I was born into. There's no blame on any of this. There's no blame here. Don't do shame, blame or guilt at all on parents or on family structure, because on one level, that's what I chose to be born into, to learn the lessons and to grow. So I honour my parents and the lessons that I've learned through them. But I had to go back and look at why I needed to manipulate my environment instead of letting go. And gradually, especially in relationships, so gradually I have learnt to let them flow. And it's been a long process. I mean, but especially the last 6 months, to make my closer relationships flourish. And then I realized, as soon as I did that and stopped trying to tread on another's journey, stopped trying to put everything in place perfectly as I thought it should be, but I know to flow with the energies of the universe. I do energetic work. I know I can, lift my dragon wings and get in that divine flow and have an incredible co-creative experience with the universe. That's what I believe. That is what I manifest in my life. But Lionsgate, for me, will just come and show me, no, look, you're out of step here with the universe. The universe is always trying to work with you, trying to co-create with you, but all the time you're trying to control that flow, then it can't flow as well. So I had to take a step back, and it is a letting go. It is a surrender to the energies and allowing other people to be as they are. And the other thing that comes with that is the projections that you do get from others. And it brought me much more aware of the energies around me. Dale's done that because Dale's been staying with me for a while now. And he's very good, like Bob, at picking up on the frequencies that are around us. And we have a lot of traffic, don't we, Dale, in the flat where I am? Have a lot of visitors. We love soul family coming together. Bob's been down, Rich has been down, and getting soul family together now, like soul family reunion, for me is what it's about, because this is the way we're going to take the energies of the fifth world of peace forward, or whatever you want to call it, the world of peace that we all want to live in. But with a lot of flow of traffic, seen and unseen, through the flat, you do pick up projections, and Dale's very good at helping me clear those. And I've become much more aware of the projections also put upon me, which influence my decisions. So again, it's getting back to that authentic self and saying, no, well, you might think that, and I can feel you thinking that, because you can feel people's thoughts. I can feel you thinking that, but you know what? I want to stand in my own power as a divine feminine, or whatever, a divine being on this earth, a sacred being. I have done, and I am doing the work to keep my sovereignty, and you ain't coming in like that. I love you. You're not. So that's a huge learning, which is still ongoing. And as Dale said, you do feel it with your family. I've got 2 absolutely amazing sons, but sometimes I feel the judgment. Hey, Mum, what you're doing? You look like you're running a hippie commune, and it's like,
we love.
Guys, it isn't, and they come and they've now met Dale and are much more comfortable with, let's say, how I'm conducting my life. And the judgment is only from care. It's only from the goodness of their heart. So it's understanding other people's projections do also come out of goodness. But of course, any energy that carries a degree of emotion, you're going to feel, it carries that, doesn't it? So it's learning, yes, to have the projections as well. Yes. Yeah, incredible learning experience.
Thank you, Laura. Beautiful. Yeah. Bob, do you want to add?
Right, yes. Yeah, so the Lionsgate for me, it was all about getting back to that signature frequency. And I knew if I stayed in the place I live, which is Hull, which is quite haunted, quite demonic, let's say, I needed it would have just blown my head. So I got in nature with my daughter. I went camping, did loads of went to fair rides. We did Go Ape, and it was just all about grounding. I had to ground myself because there was loads of resistance there, loads of energies which I had to release from the past and the present. Going into the future, I had to, I had I've had a little bit of a death, and I'm going through it. Pre Lionsgate, I had like an insight into it, which is good. But obviously, talk about how the way we can look into these unseen wells, and that's all the layers. You see, that's the more awareness you have, you can see these unseen layers. So before it even happens, you've got an insight, and it's about the trusting these things that's coming in to work with you. So spirit is working with you, so don't go against it. And obviously, so I had a little bit of a plan coming into it. Get out in nature with my daughter, have some fun, inner child fun, just laughing, loads of nice rides. And yes, I did a bit of journaling, and there was a lot of heavy energy which had to be released through the Lionsgate. After the Lionsgate, same thing. I've come back to Hull, my dream wells. I'm seeing all sorts of things coming through, like just the awareness. I've had a massive shift of energy where I know I've kind of changed my frequency. I'm really struggling to live here now, so I know there's a spirit is pushing me. I've been there before where spirits pushed me somewhere else, and everyone thought I was losing my mind. Where are you going? And it was spirit saying, no, you've got to go there. You've got lessons to learn. And obviously it's the same again. There's a life for me which is not in Hull. So my future, which I thought was going to happen, is not. And that's the excitement. I love how life is like that, because it is exciting. You think you're all set in stone and you're going to go through this process. And obviously I love the spiritual work, but obviously the practical, I'm a heating engineer still. And also at the moment, like we had a conversation the other night with Andrew and that, and it's like I'm subcontracting myself out to doing the boiler work just to get some work in. It's not what I want to do. It's not exactly. I'm good at psychic surgery. I'm good at tuning into people's signature frequencies, using all sorts of tools, which I haven't even touched the side yet of we're capable of. And that's the excitement that we've got in this future. So I know I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be probably living with Dale and Laura in our love commune. Hello.
The hippies are all coming together.
You have to grow my hair. I've just had a right haircut, and he's made a
long-haired Bob is activated.
Jesus, Jesus, Bob, SpongeBob. But so yes, Lionsgate. It's all about. I'm not reacting like I used to. I'm seeing the things there, the lessons. I'm having loads of trouble with vans at the minute. That's which it would have blown my mind. I'd have been, no, I can't do this. And I'm seeing it as lessons in life. So I'm taking a different approach to things, which is good this year. And that's all the work I have done. And that's the help of Laura, the help of Dale, Andrew, everyone that's it's the effort of me and all. Obviously, we have teachings and we have people around us who are mentors, and we've got to let that energy in to be mentored. We can't do it on our own. I thought at one point myself, that was my zealot self, that I could do it. It's okay, I'm doing this. It doesn't happen. You need people in your life, different expressions to come into your expression to make you a better being, let's say.
You've got Bob. You've got to that connects. So you've got to find your samurai masters again.
Yes, remembering
for me, and seeing it left, right, and centre, and realizing I've got to find my samurai masters. Go humbly and said, "Master, you teach me the way of the samurai."
That's right.
And I humbly see.
Our Bruce Lee, innit? It's kicking into our Bruce Lee and and stepping into our powers but just, obviously the awareness and the layers you've just had, the expansion of Dale just in the last few months is incredible in it, and just that growth, and it's just beautiful to see. And I think if we all just like encourage each other, and that's the thing, and be a team, that's the beauty. That's what it's about in the future, being a team.
Yes,
and having our own little special powers which we can integrate together.
So seeing everyone grow, and like seeing Laura, yourself, Nalinee as well, like obviously seeing Nalinee and knowing her for quite a while, seeing her expansion, her growth, what she's doing, checking in on what she's doing, it's inspiring, because you see people and you see Soul Family, and we want to be there for each other, to be the cheerleaders for ourselves and cheerleaders for our friends. And it's about allowing now competition to fall away. And this is the big movement of peace, is not allowing competition and hierarchy to be in our energy field anymore. Obviously, there's competition playing games. That's fun. That's a different story.
That's fun, yeah,
but it's competition, non-hierarchical order, and it's passing that through now into the next layer of the cycles we go through and so on. So thank you for those beautiful words.
Well, just to say, I thought I did smile. Bob said he worked hard not to have his mind blown, right? But his van blew a gasket.
So the van blew a gasket, not me. So that's a good thing.
Van did it for you. I think there is a metaphor.
Yeah, good metaphor. Brilliant. I like it.
Nalinee, what has it been like? I know you touched it on the start. So is there anything you want to add there? And as well, we'll put up the artwork and you can talk about that as well, because that connects to the lion.
Yeah, I feel that, well, since the Dragon Year begins in February, synchronicity is just off the roof. And synchronicities comes in a way that we may not expect, we may not desire, but it's all about mirrors, isn't it? How we unlock the lesson, how we discern, as Dale said, that some mirrors may not even be useful or helpful, and it's all come back to know thyself. This vision came during my recovery after the surgery, when I wasn't able to going down the stairs or doing the normal thing. It came through when I felt the call to reconnect with Blue Lily, or famously known as Blue Lotus. And this was in March. And I kind of slowly still was processing the bodily shock, the panic, the anxiety, and the grief of losing an important organ. Although I don't have any mental narrative towards regretting giving up the uterus, but there is that bio connection within the nerves and the body that were grieving for no longer having that organ as part of the inner community. And so this was the first painting that I got back into after the recovery and surgery. And I didn't mean for it to be completed in the month of August. It just happened. It's just like, oh, I'm painting a lioness with a flower. Oh, it's 888. Oh, it's famously known as lion gaze. Oh, I'm finishing it. Oh, okay, cool. It's a really mindless, not unplanned at all. And it's because I have told myself never to rush my art again, and also take time with it, and also acknowledge as well when it's time to wrap it up. So it is a very divine synchronicity. To me, this painting, it was more of a reminder of that oneness. And being a hermit myself, I honor oneness with diversity, with healthy space, community. However, you have your own space. You have your own time, processing your own vibe, etc. So it's very much of that wisdom of the blue lotus or blue water lily connects with the light that makes the sun shine, or Ra, more of ancient Egyptian term. And Ra, let us look beyond the worshipping program of gods, but let us see it as a reflective consciousness of the light that makes the sun shine, that light that exists within us all. That reminder that, yeah, we are on a different path. We may clash at times. We may forget that unconditional love that connects us all, but we can all come back into this space that we are just many rays of one light. And there's a story as well how the blue water lily would open in sunrise, And as it closes, it contains the energy of the sun, the light of the sun within. And when you drink the tea isn't blue at all. The tea is actually golden color, like the color of the sun. Yeah, I smile every time I talk about the sun, and I think that's the Leo in me. Sun in Leo happened to be that way. And I really enjoy listening to all of your stories. It's just nice to know that you're not alone, and know that we are growing in our own pace and shifting in our own theme that we're here to explore. For me, I feel this dragon, and this is going to be more of an Eastern expression. This dragon year really brings up a lot of Naga energy, which is the earth serpent that you probably can Google the Nagas of the East. They have very different features. Here in Thailand, Nagas are the guardians of the three worlds, the lower, the medium, and the upper. And being in Thailand, where Buddha consciousness is very strongly imprinted, Naga also connects with Buddhism in many ways. We are actually in the rain retreat now, where all the monks retreat in a temple and no longer come out for receiving offerings, but they remain in this temple during this rainy season. And that is also the time where, in one of the story, that the Nagas also intend to retreat within themselves, but because of the nature of Naga that fill with human bound, like lust, envy, anger, attachment, and experience everything into the extreme of the lightness and the extreme of the heaviness. Naga energy at the moment quite potent, and the lesson of the story in Thailand is that if you strongly connect to Naga, your emotional lessons are the process of envy, the process of competitiveness, the process of lusty love or love, and you're not letting go of certain possession. And this possession can be material wealth, can be people, can be the sense of who you are. And I feel that coming back into the 888, to me, the 888 was very much of the multidimensional window of what we want to align ourselves with. Like Bob just said, aligning with more of the future self. And when we set our intention to align with the so-called higher version of ourselves, the old self has to be in our awareness in order for us to no longer give power into. And this is what 888 brought up a lot within me, and also more clarity of what to allow to be fall apart, what allow to be shift and change. And it's funny how Laura just disappeared, because I was going to mention reflect on reflecting on what she said.
Musical
timeline has moved.
Because I have heard how many people said as female experience things very different to physical male gender. And now not having uterus, I actually experienced that to the extreme of what she was saying, how we pick up other people's thoughts, we feel other people's anger, other people's judgment, and sometimes it mixes in a soup that is really hard to discern whether it's our own or theirs. And I'm still a work in progress and a student of that. And it all come back to the lesson of awareness. It all come back into the lesson of slow down, don't rush things, even don't rush your speech. Don't fall into the fast pace of control and defensiveness. You know, when we get so defensive, our thoughts seems to speed up so fast. Our words become a puke of words through the mouth. And it's just that lesson of, okay, we give ourselves space, and we then come back into feeling the energies of what's bubbling up. And there is that little space of choice, whether we're going to say it whether we're going to give the fire to it or whether we're going to let it dim. And letting it dim takes a lot more strength than feeding the fire that already exists. So that's really this month for me.
Outstanding. And so as you were saying that, it reminded me of an animal totem teacher which has been coming in for me, which is a Jaguar. So the Jaguar is all about integrity to the self, being personally truth towards the self, but also when times arise where people try and put dominance on you, not allowing yourself to fight, but still be in your own peace of field and forgiveness, compassion and wisdom to move forward without wanting to interact with the karmas of around you, or the people's anger, the people's hatred, jealousy, whatever you want to use it as. And the Jaguar goes through the jungle really lightly and is able to be that lightness inside ourselves, that freedom, but still the Jaguar's a symbol of strength and power of the self, being able to stand up for yourself when you need to, but also the flip side of being that gentle, being forgiving. And that's one of the most important things we can do, is being forgiveness at times, because when the soul's not in forgiveness, you're interacting with karma, and you're allowing karma to be embroiled, push you onto another timeline, and it takes you away from the graduation timeline of the self. So whenever we go into jealousy, hate, bitterness towards others, we're telling the universe we're not ready. We're not ready for growth. We're still wanting to be held back by past lives, past karmas, past relationships. So forgiveness for me lately has been so important. And that's something I have to go back and do my work on, go back to relationships, people who hurt me. Even though I've done loads of forgiveness before, I need to then go back and do it again, and so on. So beautiful, Nalinee, and that just reminded me of something what was going on for me as well.
And the other thing is what Nalinee was saying, it's so true about that defensiveness, because we have a sort of a verbal diarrhea that comes forward, don't we? Well, we're coming out of adrenal, we're coming out of reaction, and not coming out of that heart-spaced awareness where we can make that choice. Choice was the word that Nalinee used. It's so true, because you don't give yourself any choice when you let the parasympathetic programs, you let that adrenal reaction just come in. And I've done it, and I probably still do it, but it's something I'm working on, to give myself that space. So in that space, you can paint that silence, to use the title, with a choice of sovereign words, which aren't a defense, but a response that holds honor and respect and forgiveness and compassion and all the things that we want to embody and carry forward with our dialogue, with our interaction, with our communication with others in relationships.
I think that was beautiful. I think all what Nalinee said was just slowing things down, and this is the thing. Obviously, we rush everything. Our voices, we're like, and it's just because we get stuck in our minds and we're not in our heart, and you just get you get carried away, and then obviously, and go in the flow state and be slow and just don't rush things. And this is what I've done in my time, and this is what I'm learning now to do, is just slow things down and go with the process, and have your personal space and be comfortable, and allow your boundaries and stuff for people, because that's another thing which I've had to deal with, is people around me which aren't very good, and I've allowed them in, and you do, and it's just having that responsibility, that personal space, and just to keep yourself protected, and that's a good thing moving forward. I think everyone and everything that someone said today is we're all in sync with that.
Yes,
everything, because that's what we are, a collective, and we're just going through our own little process, awareness in our own little expression, but in the same kind of categories, in a different character, and that's the beauty of it. And it's like, slow it down, and this is the thing with me. I know I've got spirit telling me and pushing me to do things, but it's it's the right time, and just go just at their own pace. Don't panic. Don't just process things. Do that inner work, and that's the key to me at the minute. Just do that inner work. Go for it times.
That's one thing I'd ask the audience, like, what would you paint your silence with? First of all, do you have silence? Do you have that space between the words, that space between actions? It's one of the Zen things, isn't it? Leave space between different actions in life, the do. I'm a do person, as Dale knows, and I'm learning to leave that space between the actions. So you're letting the energy settle of what you've done. You're taking that space, and then you're moving to the next do. If it is a do, because we should all be BBB, really, but we need action too. I get that. So I put the question to the audience. First of all, do you have that space? Do you have that silence in your life? Yes, in the form of meditation. But what frequencies do you paint that with? Do you go back into the mental thought loops of what's on the shopping list? Or do you paint it with connection to spirit and expand your awareness and your knowingness?
So there's words where I remember three weeks ago when I was speaking to spirit and going into my own silence, it was spirit was saying the words to me. It's time to stop being the masters of puppets and start creating bridges of freedom within oneself. And I kind of like, right, what does that mean? It took me weeks to kind of understand it, and allowing yourself to know that the programs and the parts of us which are in trauma or not being looked after, not healed, not come into a kind of resolution are like puppet masters. So we've got our programs and our do's, and it's like literally something's on a string and you're the puppet. And as soon as that program comes in, you get obviously changed around, and it reminds me of the bigger collective of the whole world, the master of puppets, because money, debt, tax, all of these are the strings of the puppet master. And obviously the puppet master has many different infinite eyes. And going back to what Laura was saying, the empty space, and even coming down to science and realizing between the atoms is an empty space. So between every atom there's an empty infinite space there. So we have to have form and non-form at the same time. And like going into Metatron's cube and geometry and all of that, within the geometry there's empty spaces but connection at the same time. So allowing great spirit, great mystery to flow through us, allowing the sound of silence and the freedom of the universe to come through us, allowing us to go into a space where everyone is their own source medium keeper to the 7 future generations, the 7 past generations, the Western Dreaming Lodge, the Eastern Rising Sun. Everyone has the capacity to paint the silence. Everyone has the capacity to be able to meet us in the stadium of peacekeepers and peacemakers. And that's what we're doing now. I'm no better than anyone. You're no better than anyone. We're all on this equal level of responsibility, and we all have to meet each other there, and so on. And accepting ourselves and not putting people on pedestals as much. That's something what I've had to learn. Obviously, working with Andrew, I've listened to him for so long. He's been my samurai master for so long, and he's helped me for so long. And I always put him on a pedestal. And obviously I became friends with Laura, then I became really close to Andrew, and it gave me a realization that we put people on pedestals, even celebrities, even people, the Buddha, this guy, that guy. They don't want us to put them on pedestals. The dragons do not want us to see them as something higher. They want us to see us on an equal match. And that's the dragons slap you. If you come up to them, putting them in a higher state that you're my master and you're above me, they just laugh at you and they come and fart on you and go away. You're ready to realize who you are and what I'm looking at and what I'm trying to say to you. Slap on the left, slap on the right.
Unseen slapping.
Yes, from the dragon tail. Nalinee, tell us more about the dragon energies you were feeling before. I mean, they're always there if your level of awareness has that in its frequency. But tell us what they mean to you before and after Lionsgate and generally.
Life force. Dragon force is life force that moves through us, that exists within the tree. Oh, that's a beautiful. Is that AI? I'm a painter, so I'm like, is that AI? AI is doing better than me. This is a great art. Oh, yeah. Well, dragon is life force. It's a force that moves through us, through the trees, through earth, earthquake. Dance and shaking up of the dragon within earth. So to me, this kind of perception allows me to integrate easier rather than seeing dragon as entity outside. However, I do understand and aware and respect that people have dragon guides with them, etc. But this year to me is more of where has our power gone to? Power is directed through our focus. Focus go to fear of lack. Then that's what we're going to experience: stagnant, lack, blockages. But if we let go of our power from fear, and if we cannot imagine anything any better, we return into that void inside. And it's just allowing what Dale said for the mystery, the mystery side of things to flow through, the higher power to guide us. So to me, the dragon is really that life force, that movement of soul, of spirit within all things. And this probably come back to the dragon slap. It's a reflection of where has our power gone to? Has our power gone into imbalanced habits? Has our power gone into, for me, I do have areas that I need to improve in my life. And it's the insecurity that's holding me back. Saying this now, probably I have to do it since I say it out to the public. Exercise more. That's the only thing. But yeah, it's just about how you use your dragon force. And this is an ancient knowledge. The dragon symbolizes power in Mayan culture, in Chinese culture. So how we use our power. Do we use our power to hoard our power? Is it the extreme service to self, which can be seen a lot still where I am in the New Age movement? The old paradigm still running through in wellness community? Or are we releasing ourselves from delusion of hoarding power and be generous, trusting, knowing exactly where to go, knowing what to discern, what to say no, and empowering ourselves and empowering others? So this I feel is very much of the teaching of the dragon for me this year.
Beautiful. And that's it, like seeing your honesty and my honesty, Laura's honesty, Bob's honesty, of talking about our own things, our flaws, our issues. And it's so important to address those, because that shows us our lighter side and the truth which we exist in, and not being able to be this teacher and be this wanting to be a leader and not actually say there's anything wrong with me. And you see that time and time again, not judging, but it happens that people go in, their ego tricks them, the coyote tricks them, and we've all got work to do. We've all got stuff to unravel. I've got so much stuff I need to work on still with my doubt, hesitation, and so on. So it's beautiful you saying those words, Nalinee, because it inspires us, because we need teachers out there talking about their own experience, saying we need to keep going and continue doing the inner work. That's the thing. There's no end here. It's just the beginning. When you trick yourself to thinking that the end is here, the end is now, the coyote's got you again, and you've been tricked by the universe. Go back to school and learn again. That's what it said to me when I thought I had something figured out. It's like Coyote said, nope, that's not right. Get your ass back to school. I was like, okay. First grade again. Let's go.
Well, life is this never-ending story, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's a never-ending evolution of the soul, if you want to look at it that way. So there's always something to learn, always something to experience. It's never finished. And that's the excitement of it, isn't it? As Andrew said, great mystery will never be solved. And we can go about trying to solve it, or we can go and ride the wave of universal co-creation and create for ourselves the best possible life and be the best version of ourselves that we want to be. That's why the four of us are here now. We're continuing to work on being the best versions of ourselves. bring them together to create a phenomenal show that will help other people be the best versions of themselves. And then what sort of world are we going to have with the raising consciousness where everybody tries to be the best version of themselves that they can be? So that's for me what creates change, isn't it? And it's the change that is needed, and it is coming. And I know people get down, especially with the current situation. It is very challenging, and I'm so appreciative, one, of soul family like you guys, soul family around me, yes, and family too, but also that my soul has chosen this path to find this route through this evolution, this timeline to peace, because that ultimately for me is what we're all here for.
Yeah.
I think and all just at this present time is stay in the moment, stay grounded in your body. Don't think too far into the future, because it's not. You can just put yourself in a tangle and become part of the fear and the guilt and everything that kicks with that. I think just do the little inner work, shed that dragon skin. And that's another thing. If you can shed the dragon skins, you can evolve and change that frequency and become a new dragon, new colors, new rainbow frequencies. And that's what the dragon teachings are there for, and all. They're to say, and use the dragon to be the teacher and to listen and ask questions. And that's a good thing, because that's what I do. As you say, I'm quite close to the dragon frequencies, and I ask that celestial energy I ask for things, or I ask for answers, and that's it. And it comes through dream wells, and that's the magic of what we can do. And yes, and it's all about just changing yourself, and that's the excitement, not getting stuck in these ruts in life. And we all do. I mean, I do. I've been there so many times. But then this is the beauty of when you are learning, and you're learning your trade. And I call this a new trade for me, spiritual trade. And this is my new apprenticeship, which is good. I'm excited for it. I've got a new purpose. And it's all about you never, as Dale said, you've never cracked it. You'll get there. Yes, I've got this. No, back to school, backpack on, and you're back in there, and you're learning something else, a different avenue, and that's the beauty of. And this is why you need the people around you to see, and to listen. That was one thing I didn't do, is listen. And I do listen to Laura. I do listen to Dale. I listen to people who've got an interest in me, who are good for me. And that's why it's like nice to have like soul family, because it's the trust is there, and that's a good thing. For this, obviously, for now, it's good that people can see us on a show talking about these things, and know that it's out there for them and all. And that's the thing.
Yeah. That's so true.
There's something, great words, Bob. So it's like realizing being in present now moment is functioning in this reality on the right timeline and space where you're needing to be. And it's about seeing our other selves creating false futures or false future potentials out. Because I experienced this weeks ago. I was out searching realms and seeing future potentials, timelines, and I was going into the future, and I shouldn't have been going into the future. I was looking at this timeline, looking at that timeline, thinking that was real. Then I got tricked because they were only potentials. So I thought I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't know what was going to happen. Then there was a dream of me in California on another timeline, walking down a road, and I was walking around the ancestry hub of interconnectivity in California, and I was seeing all of these hundreds of faces of ancestors, and I was looking at them, and they were talking to me, and I was like, something doesn't feel right. Like, they don't feel happy, and I don't feel really happy here. And I remember then coming out, and I was walking down a beautiful stream it was California. I was walking down the road, then I saw these loads of different butterflies just appear out of nowhere around me. Thousands of them appear. And from going back 7 years ago, I had dreams of follow the butterfly. And I'm like, there was these little marker stones of the butterfly coming in time and time again. And there was a point where I said, right, I need to stop searching for things. I need to stop obsessing about the future. I need to be in the present moment. And that's the teaching of the butterfly, being in the now, being free in the now. And I did some incredible writing and about the butterfly and the teachings of it. And I saw loads of people talking about it online, them talking about their perspective of the butterfly. And it was just like, freedom is being in the now. Freedom is not allowing ourselves to get lost and put the fishing rod in the future and hope and dream and so on. So that was a huge lesson for me, because I was like Bob, talking about being in the now and not fishing the future so much, because all it'll do is hold you back. But also listening to spirit. And this is something spirit slapped me on the head so many different times, because I've heard these things from spirit myself, my own, and I've not gone ahead and done it. 4 days down the lane, they'll come and just slap me and said, "You're not listening to spirit." And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's real or not, because I've been seeing all these future things what aren't false. So there was a huge realization for me that I had to filter out future timelines to actually listen to spirit in this now moment. So now I have an understanding of what being in the now is to what being in the future is, where it confuses the shit out of me, and I don't really like it, because I see a potential. I'm like, all I'm doing is obsessing and going out my body and searching and so on. Really, really cool teaching.
Beautiful.
Nalinee, I'd like to know more about how you're bringing your body back to balance, because obviously this is quite a big thing.
I'm not sure if my body is in balance. Well, 4 years ago I tested positive with lupus, and now I do feel lighter without that growth in my uterus. I guess I feel most in balance when I'm not in resistance towards challenges. You mentioned the adrenal. I do have the case of adrenal fatigue, and it's just about, okay, my body needs extra sleep. I rest. Okay, my body needs more movement. I do star jump in my room. I go out for a walk a bit. So I'm not really sure whether I have the right to give guidance to people how to be balanced in health. I guess my own take on this is don't mentally resist your body and thinking that your body should be like this and like that. Sometimes healthy diets for other people may not be healthy for you. We all have different bodily rhythm, different cycles, different way to respond to energies. So really come back into to listen to your body and let it guide you, rather than the head of wanting to again do and achieve. Yeah.
And we all have different spiritual contracts too related to food. And different karmas. All that is intertwined, isn't it, with the diet that we choose or don't choose.
Yeah, I have to say possibly 90% of my bodily condition came from eating disorders that I put myself in since young. So yeah.
Was that extreme eating? Okay.
Yeah, and anorexia for 2 years, and then bulimia for over a decade.
Wow.
But I'm here now, and I stop eating when I'm full. So
good. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, if I can do it, anyone can. It takes time, and the body is wiser than we think. It's a lot wiser than our brain, I have to say.
Yes. Your brain's like, eat a piece of cake, eat more cake. Okay. So a question, Nalinee, would be, so this show's called Paint the Silence, and I've listened to a lot of when you go and you start just going into a flow and start speaking what's the energies of the present is. What can you give advice to people out there who are wanting to start going within and experiencing that inner flow of how they can do it, and anything you want to add to that?
Well, I have to mention Eckhart Tolle or Eckhart Tolle, depends to how you pronounce him, and Alan Watts. These two are really my inspiration of, okay, there's tools and there are already examples imprinted within collective consciousness on earth that there is a way. There is a way. Buddha and Jesus are a good example too, but the teachings have long been distorted for many eras of time. And sometimes I feel that people kind of lost the plot. But it's just all about I like to close my eyes and I like to turn my ears on and just welcome the sound of the surrounding, welcome the sensation in the body. The toughest times, such as anger, pain, sadness, jealousy, it can be difficult to detach from the mind. However, those are the most powerful portals as well for us to practice of just let go. Just let go of the tug of war, of the narratives inside the head, and just coming back into that aliveness inside our body, within the physical sensation of touch, taste, smell, hearing. And we just starts from there. That present now starts from there. It's not an absence of sensation, but it's just feeling each waves rising and fall, feeling the space between my voice. So I notice now the energy within the group shift, that you no longer you no longer pay attention to the voice, but you just pay attention into that space. And if you are addicted to thinking, I admit that I'm addicted to thinking, just find that space between thoughts.
The vibration. Find that.
Yeah, and when that one thoughts end, and before we add on that space, it's like when you observe the train runs, there's a space between each cart. That space, just enter from there. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's different when we talk about it. It seems easy, but when practicing it, it's a different ballgame.
Yes, that was fabulous. That just felt like a mini meditation. Yeah,
Beautiful little mini meditation. Then, wasn't it?
Yeah,
could have kept on going for another hour.
Yes. Space between spaces.
And if we have shamanic expression, my current guide would be a raven. We don't have raven in Southeast Asia, but raven's been coming. You have ravens where you are, and the magic of the raven starts from the void, and this is very, very Zen. Everything before we speak, before we initiate intention or think creatively, let's start from that present void. And if I have to say how I paint my silent at the moment, is just black.
Yes,
just an infinite creativity in that void.
Yeah,
anything is possible. It's a bit like the fetus in the womb.
Yeah,
you have your greatest connection to source.
Yeah,
For the memory wipe and the amnesia.
It's beautiful. It's
yeah.
Just another expression of the void, though, isn't it? Painting, and you're saying that black canvas, that's the void. So you're just expressing yourself with your touch, your feeling, different expressions of that void, putting that onto canvas, and that's another layer of,
Sorry, how much is in that darkness? You know, if you turn the light off in a dark room, you actually still see, or I do, there's still, with your eyes open, you can still see the energies. And there is a shamanic practice of night, they call it nightlight. So you can hold your hands up to the night in pure darkness and receive nightlight through the night into your palms.
Monks here in Thailand, sometimes they go in and initiate themselves in caves,
Yes.
and that my darkest fear is mosquitoes. Oh God, I hate mosquitoes, but they love me. Mosquitoes.
Need a mosquito revocation, Nalinee. They're ancestral, aren't they, mosquitoes? Insects that bite you, it's an ancestral thing, yeah. So
I don't flipping know. I had dengue fever. That thing is evil.
Oh,
that thing is bad. That thing is bad.
Yeah.
It's evil.
So going back to painting the silence. So as you spoke, that's what it reminded me of. And when you said the blackness, it's like you've got your blackboard in front of you, and you're allowing the flow of the universe to flow through your veins. You're allowing the rainbow bridge and the hub of interconnectivity to all that is, was, and ever will be, and allowing that to flow through your knowingness. And there's no, I'd say, doubt or no hesitation, no hierarchy there. It's just allowing like an endless river flow flowing through us and painting the silence of the universe. And that's what it felt like when you're doing that, Nalinee. And that's what it feels like when you do and go into those states of nothingness but everything at the same time. It's like you're painting, and you're painting your masterpiece in the present moment, in the infinite space, and creating with whatever's needed in the sacred moment. Then realizing there has to be a zone of trust and a knowingness of who your team are. Call the raven, call the angel, call the dragon, call the ancestral hall of ancestors who sit behind you. And in that nothingness, you can feel the presence of them. And that's allowing knowingness to come into hindsight and foresight, where there's a knowing you have a raven as one of your teachers. I know that I have a jaguar. I know that I have horse, dragon, and so on. Everyone here has many different of things which flow through the reality. And it's the uniqueness and beauty of it, that everyone here is unique. And everyone here has a code and a different resonance of their I am signature frequency flowing through this great dream. And thank you, Nalinee, for opening that up, because that just reminded me of how important that nothingness space is, to create nothing, to make nothing. So yeah, beautiful.
Is it the void of knowingness? The void of knowingness.
Yes. And unknowingness to be made known. It's also, I think, for me, painting the silence is also, you're not actually, well, for me, it wouldn't be about painting with my thoughts alone. It's painting that silence with my whole energy field. So we have this beautiful, don't we, mix of frequencies within us. Well, hopefully most of the time they're beautiful. We are painting.
You get stung by a mosquito.
Yes, we are continuing to.
They absolutely love me all over you. Yeah.
We're continuing to paint that silence with the frequencies that we're embodying and the frequencies that we're emanating. Is continuing to paint in that silent moment. And so the question really is, what do you want to paint with? What colors do you want to paint with? What frequencies do you want to paint with? What frequencies do you want to embody? What frequencies do you want to emanate that is going to help your own evolution, your own consciousness raising and others without treading on their journey? What do you want? What do you want to have inside that you're going to put out? You know, and that's where the releasing comes, isn't it? Before you go in the void and paint, maybe you need to release the things we don't need to carry forward, so that we're all of us painting the silence with very positive frequencies.
Yeah, definitely. Even in the process or path, if you will, of detaching from mental narratives, there's already a lot of, we can experience the attachment to thoughts, attachment to emotions that we hold on to that keep us away from that now moment. And these are very much like little steps that we have to go through and release ourselves from temptation of adding on to that I that holds on so much of the concept of self and the concepts of others. And when we able just to perhaps set that I aside or let that I to dissolve, we then return to what Dale said, that rainbow light that is one. It's just different frequency that manifested from one light. Yeah.
Wow. So
Very peaceful thought.
yes, what an incredible show. So we'll wrap it up now. And Nalinee, thank you so much again for coming on. So can you let people know how they can get hold of you and so on?
Yeah, so social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and that's my website that they'll just kindly put up. So connectionsnalinee.com. So you can contact me through email and website, YouTube, Nalinee Diosara. Yeah. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Laura.
So, yes, if you'd like a private session, you can find me on twofeathersmedicine.com or laura2feathers@gmail.com with the number 2. We also, Dale and I also work as part of the Galactic Historian team, so you can find our videos here on the GH YouTube and Dale Symmetry of Health YouTube. And we always encourage you, please, to like and subscribe, because this helps put our messages out there and our energies out there. So thanks. It's lovely, lovely to have you on the show again, Nalinee. Been such a pleasure. And to have you on, Bob, and of course you, Dale.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more last words for you, Bob? Anything else?
Just thanks for inviting me. That's beautiful. I just feel like meditation, and I could have done it for another half an hour. Just the silence between the voice, it was like, it was amazing. So yeah,
and you've got a black screen above your head as well. The irony.
The irony.
Telly screen.
The void is getting closer.
The light. You've got a white room with a black telly.
Black void. Coming to get me.
Yes. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
And if anybody would like a psychic surgery soul retrieval session with myself, I'm also offering the Dreaming Lodge Bear Lodge psychic surgery. So it'll be a psychic surgery session where I go in and read the east, the south, the west, north, above, below, within, and I'm able to have an understanding of what's holding you back in the unseen world, in this physical world as well. And I'm also offering now the Bear Dreaming Lodge within that. So within that psychic surgery session, I'll take you to the Bear's Dreaming Lodge, and you'll be able to learn the lessons of introspection, self-reflection, and understand those hidden selves and so on. I just want to say, Nalinee, thank you. I love you, sister. Love you guys, Bob, Laura, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.